Mine is, like I said, mine's not nearly as fancy as yours, but it's hilarious. So this is a Chardonnay, and
All right.
Chardonnay, okay, cool, Chardonnay, white wine. But the name, they came by. They're like, listen, this is gonna be really good for your lounge. You got to try it out. We have a coffee shop where I work, but it also like does a bar and some other stuff. So I have to make the alcohol decisions. So they come by and they say, try this out. It's a Chardonnay called Broken Dreams. So I'm like, oh, I gotta buy it. Everyone in Florida is gonna buy the Chardonnay just based off the name. It's great. And then you've got the port. Tell me how old it was again. 20 years?
20 year Tawny port. Yeah.
20.
Nice. Good.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive. Probably $50 for like a bottle.
Yeah.
But my wife and I definitely acquired a taste for this when we were in Portugal.
Right.
Super good.
When were you in Portugal?
I guess it was last September.
Oh, okay, so recent.
Pretty recent, yeah.
Oh, hey, we were in September. We were in. Our anniversary is the August 31st, so we planned it. So like August 31st, then Labor Day, and then my wife's birthday is the September 2nd. So like that's always anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Time frame. So we went to Europe in September last year. First time we did the what was it? London, Paris, Amsterdam tour type thing.
Nice. Yeah, my wife absolutely loves Paris. I love Amsterdam, and we actually always we fly into London just because. Normally when you fly into Europe because of I don't know stupid laws or whatever, you always have to like take red eyes from the U.S. and you fly overnight and then you just get there and you're super tired and it sucks.
Oh yeah, that's true. You need like that day.
Yeah, but you can fly into London in the morning and arrive at London in the evening, so you don't get like ridiculously tired. So that's our usual plan when we go to Europe.
I feel like you've been to Europe a couple times then, so you were Portugal.
We've gone like every year for the last like 9 years or something. It's like it's our big summer vacation.
Dope.
We'll go to Europe, off into Paris. But yeah, we'll actually that's our honeymoon there.
Very cool.
So
how long you guys been married?
8 years.
8. Wow, man, I'm chasing you. We'll be 7 years this in August. And then when did you guys get married? What day?
August 23rd.
Okay. No, cool. Yeah. Okay.
Basically
anniversary
one
brothers.
Earlier.
1 year and weekend earlier. That's crazy. Not bad, man. Very cool. And then I guess you guys met in New York when you were up there.
Yeah. So she sent me a message on like some online dating app in 2007. So yeah.
That
we went
was
to the
it.
same university. And initially, she was a little not super willing to admit, especially to her like close family, that we met on the internet. Especially 13 years ago, it was sketchier. But we had gone to the same university, although we never met each other at the same, when we were in college.
Oh, okay.
So she said we met at school, but it was not true.
That's the cover story to make it acceptable, right?
Yeah. Eventually, she came clean.
Wow, there's a lot of crossovers so far, man. So you guys met at school. I met mine at school, not through dating app, but like she went to college earlier. Like she's a nerd, so she went like the summer before. You get there.
Okay.
I was working, trying to like earn college money, and she's like there learning about STEM programs and stuff.
Right.
Which is why she's the OG. But it got to be pretty interesting in that way. And so we met, we hung out and everything. We started dating. What was that? Like the end of the first semester, I want to say, of college. And like we made it all the way through undergrad, which is wild. So that was cool. And then she went and did graduate school at UNC, and I decided to be a bum.
So did you move there?
Yeah. So I did college in North Carolina, like all full through. I finished high school, finished junior and senior year in North Carolina, moved down from DC, and then did college. And she did undergrad, and I bummed around, and that was a fun time.
Nice.
What would you think? Let's see. You're at Google, right? So that's like
Google.
Man, huge pathway. Working at Google. Not a lot of people get to do that. Seems to be like one of the dreams, I would say, for a lot of folks.
It's definitely a good place to work.
But first job out of college, I imagine, maybe not Google.
It was Google.
Oh, you lucky son of a gun.
I was
How was
Google
that?
in 2005. It was so it was cool. Certainly, if you had Google stock in 2005, you're probably pretty happy right now.
Oh yeah,
That
you're balling.
that's true of me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my first couple years at Google were actually a bit of a struggle, honestly. Where I didn't really like the project I was on, but that Google stock was like, it was clear it was going to be worth a lot of money, so I sort of, grinned and bared it.
Right.
And
right.
then I actually started to like it a lot.
I don't even know, maybe you can't even talk about it, but can you talk, what was the first project you were on?
It was about like personalizing search, so like giving people different search results based on like their own interest, or sort of tailoring search for people. And it was like, now it's super useful, and I think we've mostly figured it out. But back then it was sort of early times, and the particular like little niche I was working on just like wasn't working at all.
Right.
Working sort of like Google had acquired a startup, and like that guy was like really pushing, kept on like keeping this project alive when it should have died. And I was brand new, so I didn't have like the maturity to like realize it should just like, I should not work on this, and I should like actually forcefully kill it, and work on something actually useful. But instead I was like working on this like zombie project for way too long. It was really stressful.
Man, that's working rough, dude. Yeah, I think everybody's kind of got like that one project. I mean, when I first got out, I went to school for graphic design. So first thing I got to do was work at the YMCA at the front desk. And then I got a job at soccer.com, which one of our guys, bartender Joe, he plays soccer. So like he knows soccer.com. He's like, oh, I used to order from them all the time. I'm like, yeah, I probably printed your badges. So I was just printing the badges in like the warehouse for a while. And then that transitioned to their headquarter office, which was like literally down the street, but different building. So that's cool, in Hillsborough. And we finally got to do some cool stuff, So it was out of the badge printing room for like everyone's local, soccer mom team, to actually doing stuff with like front page on the cleats for Nike and Adidas and like Barcelona and like all the cool teams.
Oh,
and
wow.
Messi stuff, Neymar stuff, U.S. women's national soccer team stuff, and how much better they always are than the boys team.
Yeah. There's actually interesting court cases about that now, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. I had a video interview earlier today with a video editor, and he had some stuff with Megan Rapinoe, and I was like, oh, that's dope. This is really cool. So getting to see some stuff, and but it was fun. It was a really cool trip. So doing some of that stuff professionally. And then you've been now at Google how long?
So I actually worked at Google for like 10 years, left for Facebook, which I did not like at all. And then I went back to Google almost 4 years ago. So basically my entire career I've been at Google.
That's insane. Like being able to stay at a place just for so long. And then you've moved up and whatnot, and kind of going along with stuff. Talk to me about, I guess, how, because obviously Google has a cab. I would assume somebody had to have made some kind of play, to get the cab. How did that happen?
Right. Yeah, I had nothing to do with this. I don't even know the story that well, but there was a few people that I think played it maybe at MagFest. I'm not entirely sure actually where they first stumbled upon it. Maybe not. I don't know. I had played with them later at MagFest, and they convinced our facilities that they should buy a machine. Like I guess they played it a little bit, were super addicted, which everyone can understand, and convinced our facilities department or whatever to buy a machine for us. And like we got it, and they didn't actually play that much. And like I'm sure after 3 months they were like way worse than everyone at Google. And now like 3 years later, they're basically atrocious. Like I can recognize their faces, but they're probably not much better than like when like just random people are playing at the bar for the first time.
Right.
But yeah, they really started this little crazy cult subculture inside Google New York.
They started the cult.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So then it's over there, and then I guess when you guys started picking it up, like I've heard you say like, oh man, worst thing ever is having a cab at work, because all of your downtime goes straight to that cab.
Oh no, I don't know if this is bad. I think it's great.
Oh.
But yeah, we definitely, I don't know. I guess the joke I like to make is like, yeah, you know, the cab will cost you like $12,000 or $15,000 or whatever in dollars, but actually it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in engineering, wasted engineering time. Right? People aren't actually fucking working.
Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't think about that part of it from the man hours section. So from, I guess, you know, that's how you got started in Killer Queen, and we'll get into some other stuff later. But super interested. You've came up with a kind of, I don't know if notoriety is the right word or whatever it is, but you definitely have made a name for yourself in terms of your ability in the game, starting off in this certain pathway where it's like you started off running a lot of objective, a lot of drone, moved into everything else from that. Have a great name for yourself as a queen, and have queened some really great teams.
Yeah. Actually, my warrior is not very good.
Really?
I went basically straight from. Yeah, my warrior's pretty bad.
I was gonna ask about that because there is that gap. Like, what about warrior?
Anyone who's like decent on queen, they're gonna just their warrior's gonna be so much better than mine.
So how did that work? Because it's like, you know, everyone starts kind of drone, but then what was the shift to like, I want to learn queen stuff? And then how do you maintain both of those? I mean,
Google, it's kind of fun, right? We get a lot of these like sort of casual like 3v3 kind of games with like, you know, there'd be some great players like, you know, at the time like Andrew Wilkening, Prashant or Sarah or Sam or Austin Waters, right? There's a lot of fantastic, or some of them have left, but there's a lot of fantastic players. And then I get to just queen in these casual games against them, and I think that's how I sort of, you know, got pretty good at it.
Right. I mean, because you're playing against that talent, so like you're gonna be sharpening pretty good, I think. And then what's the? Because you will still at this point play either queen or drone, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like it's almost like it's the same joy for you to play either one of them. Like,
I mean, it's certainly different. Like, and there's a trade-off, right? Like, you know, I can get on absolutely top-notch, absolutely fantastic teams on drone, but on queen, it's still like I'm still not the best queen in New York, right? So I don't get on the absolute fantastic best teams if I'm going to queen them. So there's the big trade-off for me.
We played you guys with you queening, I think, for the first time, because I'm trying to think back. We haven't played in like a tournament setting very often. We've played friendlies and stuff like that and like practiced like a bunch at BB4. But I remember we played you guys at BB4. You were queening. Deanna was on that team. I can't remember who else.
Ivan Constantino, Carlos de la Cerda from Columbus, and Jose Velasco from Charlotte.
Yeah. And I remember we played in pools and got stomped.
I mean, I watched them again. So it was a 3-0.
Yeah.
And they weren't super close, but they weren't stomps. Like, yeah.
I appreciate the grace save. But the queening at that point, I was like, okay, this is Rob queening. This is pretty damn good. And like supporting cast, no supporting cast, like queens, you got to hold up, right? So I was like, okay, cool. Then we played you again at Queens Gone Wild, but now you're playing drone, with Eduardo's team, and we're looking at the footage and we're like seeing what happened, and it's just like Rob's getting bumps, Rob's doing this. We were watching the last, I think there was a night game that we played against you guys. You guys ended up beating us 3-1. We won the night game the first time. So we went back there to try to win again, because you guys won day and you won dusk. So after we reset, we went back to night, say, okay, maybe we can beat them there again. But you guys won that time. And I went back and I watched the footage, and there were so many plays that you made on drone that just like janked up our works like just enough over time where like we couldn't, I can't remember what we were going for, but it was a close one at the end.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. It's other Joe. I don't know. Joe B. I don't know how to say it. His still is good, man. I watched that and I was like, I gotta respect his drone. Like, he was making good hops. He definitely outplayed me, and more than a couple of the little micro interactions, micro games. So he's solid.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And we were trying to pick up a lot of that between him, between Richard, and seeing a lot and that. And they'll watch some of your tapes too and just try to figure out like, yo, Rob was able to do this. Like, you can do that.
I do think I did outplay. I think I outplayed Richard on the ledge a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially on that game. Yeah.
That's fucking wild. So between that, like, when you're considering, okay, like, I'm gonna build a team or I'm gonna join a team, like, what kind of considerations do you tend to make? Is it based off of kind of like where you're going and who you know is going with, and like, okay, or do you kind of predetermine like, oh, this is, I would want to do this with this team, or I would want to do that with that team, and you kind of like cater? Because I think you have the ability as like being skilled in Queen and being skilled in Drone, like you can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, I think basically it's sort of a hard trade-off between like, I can often either Queen like a very good team or Drone for a fantastic team. Those are really my options. And depending on like how good that very good will end up versus how amazing that fantastic team will end up is where I sort of have to make the trade-off.
It's a bit of a wiggle. Yeah, it's a bit of a wiggle. Let's see. With the way things are right now, obviously not a lot of people are playing hardly much at all. I know. Right. Yeah. There's a couple people who are cab owners. I know Damish is one. You're one. Todd Blatt's one in Baltimore.
I'd own a cab that's in Philly.
Oh,
I
that's
guess
right.
he actually owns a cab.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay.
Oh, he does. I think he has partial ownership of a cab in Baltimore that I think is currently in his apartment. And Todd and I co-own a cab that lives in Philly.
Ah, I see. That's how it works. Right. And then, so how did that work? Where you guys were just like, we're gonna get this cab, we're gonna put it in a Philly bar, and because I know some folks down here have been talking about, oh, we should get a cab, and like, how does that even?
Yeah. I mean, I personally love the city of Philadelphia, and I'd probably live there if I could get paid as much as I do in New York. And I'd been considering a while, like, literally opening a bar to host KQ in Philly. But Todd was just like, is there anyone who wants to like go on a Killer Queen arcade machine in Philly? And he posted that to like the Slack Discord or the Slack chat a couple years ago. And then someone, added me, and we just got in touch, and we managed to find a place for the cab, although it honestly hasn't worked out that well.
Well, I mean, hopefully, as it goes along and we can get back out of this, we can.
Yeah, I mean, it's currently in this like PC gaming spot, which sounds like it might work.
Like a LAN center type thing?
Yeah. But actually, people playing LAN games are quiet.
Right.
People playing Killer Queen are obnoxiously loud.
Yeah.
The more you're enjoying it, the more you're being obnoxiously loud, and then it's like a little bit of a culture clash there.
Right. Could be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, we probably want to find someplace that's more got like a bar-like atmosphere.
I feel like when you're in that type of situation, yeah, you're right. It's a pretty rambunctious game, like, and it needs to build a scene. It needs that element to it. Otherwise, it kind of like. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe they'll have like specific nights or something where that'll work. Because even if you're doing like a fighting game tournament or something, like if they're doing a Smash tournament down here, back in the day, like those things can get pretty crazy pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it has done the best in this location when they literally hold Smash tournaments. I think Smash players take to it better than like PC gamers.
Okay, so I play Smash. A couple other people I notice also play Smash. Or at least when I was talking with Kyle, we did his episode, he's like, it makes sense to me that Smash Bros players pick up on this. I've talked to Damish about this concept. Damish will talk about, like your reads, you have good reads. And in Smash, like it's all about any fighting game really, but I'd say Smash in particular just because of the added nuance of physical space in that game being so wild and kind of, you have all this stuff to consider that maybe you wouldn't in like a Street Fighter, like a plane fighter, 2D plane fighter. So being able to read space becomes something that a Smash Bros player like does innately. And when you're playing Killer Queen, if you're doing fades or you're lipping in or you're holding edges or kind of doing the midair dance of trying to figure out who's going to mantis who and like who needs to fade just a little bit more to get the other person. These are all like, to me, like basically Smash Bros spacing mechanics, Yeah,
Eduardo from Dallas. He's playing a lot of Killer Queen Black with me. And he's definitely a very solid KQA queen. And he was talking about wanting to queen in KQB, but he says it's even more like relative to KQA. It's even more like Smash, where it's like kind of fast reaction, like intense, like tactical kind of battles. He says it just stresses him out, and it's like queening in KQB is like you're in this like hardcore Smash game while everyone around you is playing Killer Queen. So yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend the Smash players who also like KQA give KQB a shot.
So you've been playing that. You guys have been doing some tournaments and whatnot. You said you're playing it with Eduardo. Who else is playing, and kind of like what's your experience been playing Killer Queen Black as of late?
I mean, okay, so it's not as good as Killer Queen Arcade. At least on the internet, like latency is a thing. It kind of sucks. It injects some randomness, some unfairness. But it is still very fun, and like legit, you can just like go sit on your couch or whatever and play. So that's like you don't have to go to the arcade. You don't have to drive home like drunk or whatever. I know we're in New York, so we don't have to drive at all. But
right.
But yeah, it is pretty good. You've got that same like tension, the same like coordination, the same multiple ways of win. It's definitely worth trying out. And if you want to check it out, I'll gladly, anyone listening, I'll queen for you and carry you some wins and some games on the internet if you want to try to break in.
You heard it. You heard it here first. Rob's gonna carry you to the mountaintop.
There's a bunch of AQA players who are now, who I maybe initially weren't that into it, who have like just realized that KQA is just not going to happen for a while because of pandemic. They've just given up. Like I think like Woody, Amandra, Jose, who was on my team. It's starting to pick up among the KQA people.
Yeah, there was kind of like, I know they did the beta back in a while there, and I tried the beta, and it's like, okay, based off of that, I think everybody kind of made their determinations. It's like, oh, mechanically, this is very, okay. So then it's like, well, now, I've seen some people like at BB4, it came out on the Switch. Some people bought the Switch version, and they were kind of partying up with that and playing. And it definitely did become kind of like, I don't know, like the more casual kind of party game feel of the KQ community in a way. But there were some folks, I mean, Hugo, what's the guy's name from?
Hugo was the best KQ beater in the world for a while.
Right. And then there was that other guy. What's his name? I met him in Phoenix. What was his name? You
Tyler.
guys? No, not Heather. It's a guy.
Tyler.
Tyler
Maloney.
No, not Tyler. There was another guy, like Yeet or Neat. It's like some nickname.
Yeesh.
Yeesh. Yeah, Yeesh.
Oh yeah, Yeesh is the guy who overtook Hugo.
Oh, okay.
He's really a KQB player who sort of crossed into KQA, and I think got pretty decent pretty quick at KQA. I think he's kind of like the Domish or something of KQB, who's kind of like
the Domish.
Very good game. He's won the first two kind of big tournaments, but maybe he's also going to get surpassed by players who play a little bit more aggro and maybe have a little bit better micro. I think that might be happening right now.
So the KQ metagame is already starting to evolve. KQB.
Yeah. It might be sort of following that same KQA, where Yeesh led a team and had very like coherent team-based strategies. And maybe we haven't hit like BB3 yet in the KQB scene, but
right.
Maybe what's gonna happen is someone more like aggro, like just kind of a little bit better of that really aggressive tactical micro is gonna overtake him.
Well, because it's super fast, right? Like it's a crazy
fast
fast
game.
It is
super fast. It is brutal. Yeah. I wish I was 20.
The freaking twitch reflexes,
shitty eyes and slow reaction time. I'd be a lot better.
That's me.
It's still a lot of fun.
My twitchy kind of thing right now, because everyone's been trying to find, okay, well, if we can't play Killer Queen, what are we playing now? And in South Florida, we've been playing a lot of Call of Duty Warzone and kind of the multiplayer and dealing with all of that. There's guys on, I kid you not, probably right now, I would bet money there's dudes playing Warzone right now from KQ, South Florida. And then Richard introduced me to Valorant, which, Valorant, everyone knows it's Counter-Strike and Overwatch's, amalgamation baby, and plays like it, and it's a lot of fun, but it's Counter-Strike mechanics, so like, flick shooting and just, having dead to rights aim and kind of coordinating and trying to figure out where are your opponents, and you get into that very high level tactical, mindset. Because once you're out for the whole round, and you can be a hero and kind of carry your team, or you can just get curb stomped. It's kind of like I don't know. It's weird. It's like partially luck of the draw, I feel like, but because the reads are just really hard to make sometimes, but it's just so twitchy. It's got a ranking system like StarCraft too. So like you got your Iron League, and then after like bronze, gold, and then just ridiculous after that. As soon as you cross over into gold, it's just like, okay, I need to go back to bronze.
Real hard.
Yeah, it's try hard time. What other types of games you were doing? KQ Black, recently obviously, but what would you say even like maybe before Killer Queen were you doing competitively?
Yeah, the games that I was super into, like card games, not like 52 card deck, but like custom deck card games. Like this game Race for the Galaxy, I was super good at. There'd be a tournament as part of this like board game convention in like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is sort of like the middle of Pennsylvania. You don't really want to go to Lancaster.
Lancaster. This is the second time Lancaster's been brought up on the stream. We were talking about Brian Lancaster. Like that's got to be where he's from. That's his hometown.
Yeah, I don't. I'm skeptical of that. But anyway, so for like I don't know, maybe 8 years in a row or 7 years in a row, I went to this tournament. And I think I won the tournament maybe 5 out of those 7 years, and it's like 80 players. It's a card game, so it's kind of random. But yeah, I was really good. And then another game that I got into was like Dominion, which is I think a bit more popular. And I was not quite as good as that, but I placed and got in the top 4 a few times in that.
Those games, do they play it all like how do they play? It's not like Dungeons and Dragons or Hearthstone.
No. I mean, Hearthstone might be not that different. I haven't played Hearthstone, but I mean, they're sort of card games. You're, as you're playing, you're sort of building up your deck, your hand, or whatever, and you're trying to kind of find the combos and figure out how to like counter what your opponents are doing.
Okay, so then between that, you're doing a lot of card games. I'm always terrible at those. Like the only card game experience I have is probably the Pokemon card trading game back in the 90s, the OG. I would go in. This is how good I was. So we're in elementary school when this thing comes out, right? Maybe 5th grade, maybe 4th probably, and no one has jobs when you're 12. Like, you don't work. So what I was able to do, because everybody at the school, they're getting cards, like, oh, I gotta get cards. What card? I convinced my classmates that I worked at a local convenience store, and that this convenience store had Pokemon cards. So I would tell them, hey, give me $5. I'll go and get you some Pokemon cards, and then, I'll bring them back to you the next day. So these impressionable elementary schoolers would give me $5 of like their lunch money or like wherever the heck they get their allowance. And then I would go like to the grocery store or something and just get some extra Pokemon card decks to give out to them. And then I would use that as an opportunity to like create a base from which I can trade with, because like no one else was really doing it. So we would trade and like get the cards and whatnot. But I became like the Pokemon card shark. It was an interesting time in my life.
Nice.
So that was fun. And then, other like funky stuff growing up. I don't know what happened to the Pokemon card. It got complicated. They started adding like the shinies and the holographic cards, and then the new set of cards that come out, and they changed all the packaging. And at that point I was like, okay, I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
But outside of that, did you have any like collectible type cards that you would do, or you just kind of like the strategy of card game?
I wouldn't do that. I guess even earlier in high school, I got really into StarCraft. I think like when I was at my best, I played in some tournament.
Like Brood War or Brood War?
Brood War, yeah. Yeah. I'm old. Just called it StarCraft back then because there was no StarCraft 2.
No, yeah.
I did beat a guy in a tournament who later traveled to Korea and played professionally in Korea.
Wow.
So I was pretty good. And I think
Okay, so now what we have to do is we got to get you versus Michael Floyd for the Brood War battle and see who's going to take it. We'll have to load it up.
I don't know. I haven't played Brood War in 10 years. Although I still do watch like the Korean pros play Brood War. That's a sort of pastime at 1 a.m. or something. I'll be watching, Flash. I don't know if anyone
Oh
follows it, but yeah.
yeah. The old guys, man, the
And
old names.
young people.
It's
Yeah.
funny how I remember I was trying to watch some of those guys transfer over into StarCraft 2, like in the MLG days when they were going around their tours and hitting MLG Raleigh and Anaheim and all this MLG Columbus, and you would see those guys trying to push and go. Like I remember seeing Idra, and boy, Idra was old even back then, but he was still killing. Yeah, like Zer, he was killing. And then you had all like the new players, so you had Scarlet and you had Huck and. On the Korean side, who was I watching? It was like Bomber and oh geez, what was the Protoss guy's name? Oh, I forget. He always had glasses, but well, I guess a lot of them had glasses. That's probably not a good identifier. It was the one with the glasses. Now I'm trying to think who didn't have glasses. Like maybe Marine King didn't wear glasses. I think a lot of them did. But yeah, just kind of catching up on those battles. We would do in North Carolina bar crafts. For StarCraft 2 at a bar called Blinkos. We had a little meetup out there called SC Tuesdays. It's still going on, but they do it in Raleigh and like other places now. But we started that. I wanted to make a spot where, because I hate playing online with randoms and doing like 1v1 because I know I'm gonna get creamed. So I'm like, let me create a spot where like the people I know we can like land and play together, and that'll be fun. So we started this thing at this bar, kind of sports grill, Blinkos, and people were physically bringing their cabs, like their cabinets. So they're bringing their rigs, and some guys are bringing like super high powered laptops, but other people are bringing like actual towers and like from home, like disconnecting it and then bringing it out and reconnecting it at home. It's crazy. But we would do that. We would do bar crafts. We had like ST bingo, and like we made all these. We just did all this cool stuff. It was a lot of fun. But I think about that because I feel like for KQ, there's the types of people that get drawn to it that like really stick it out. Always have something that was like a precursor, like some community thing.
Before, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say for you, what there's got to be something. What was like a group or an activity or like a thing that you did pre KQ that was like some kind of a community, thing?
Yeah. I mean, I was so.
Like Amar, I just did Amar. Amar was talking about volleyball. He was doing a bunch of volleyball, and that's actually how he got into KQ. But everyone's got something.
Yeah, I would do like basically like statistical analysis of like game logs from these games, from both Race for the Galaxy and Dominion, and I'd like post them to these like discussion forums or whatever. And I kind of became known as like I'd get into like flame wars a little bit with the game designers. Be like, look, man, you can see this card like. People play it all the time, and they win all the time when they play it. And so I became known in these communities as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then at Google, we would have these Tuesday board game nights.
Oh, dope.
And for a long time, especially before people started settling down and having kids, we would play from often 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. like every Tuesday.
Wow.
It was only Killer Queen actually killed that for me. Once I started getting to Killer Queen, I was just like,
right.
I'm just gonna all my gaming time because I just want to be good at this.
It kind of takes over.
But yeah, for like maybe 8 or 10 years, I was playing a ton of board games and card games.
I think competitively before Killer Queen, I was playing Smash. I was doing that whole deal. And then Killer Queen came out. It came out in good timing, honestly. Well, in good timing. The game had been out for a while. Right, I want to say Smash 4 was out. Oh, what year was that? That was Wii U, so it was, at least 4 something years ago, maybe 5. But Killer Queen came out sometime, maybe around that time. But if you knew about it, you knew about it. If you didn't, you didn't. It's small, it's indie, so like it's not making news or anything back then. So I'm doing a lot of Smash and like competitive one-on-one tournaments and trying to do that whole deal. And that was all the time for competitive jollies. Then as soon as I find out about Killer Queen, it's like, oh, this is a thing? Oh, it's in my town now? Oh, okay. So, like, you have to physically go, you got to go to these places. At least you had to back then. So it gets to be a little tough.
So were you one of like the first South Florida KQ people?
I think out of everybody in South Florida, I haven't confirmed this, but I think out of most folks, if not everybody in South Florida, I was probably one of the only people that already knew and had played Killer Queen before it got to Glitch. Because I would go to MagFest. You know, I would go to MagFest all the time. And so I saw it up there. And a buddy of mine, also from North Carolina, was like, yo, they got this game. It's crazy. Come play it. I was like, okay. And we go and we see the crowd. I'm like, oh, what's that? And so we would play it there. So when I found out that it was at Glitch Bar, you know, somebody told me, yo, they've got this game called Killer Queen at Glitch. And I'm like, I know this game.
Yeah.
I wasn't good at it, but at least I knew about it. I was like, oh, I just thought that it was one of those like indie things that only what's it called? It's like what do they have at MagFest? The battle pods, you know? They had like the mech fighter battle pod things, like just something you would only see at a convention. That's what I thought about it, you know. And then so I showed it here. I was like, oh, this is a thing. This is cool. So it kind of worked out that way. But you've been to MagFest several times.
Yeah. Twice, I think. The first time I was actually working at Facebook, and so I didn't have access to the Google Cab, and I went to sort of fill the void. And then I think I maybe went again like a year or two later.
Do you remember what the theme was for the years you went? Like what game they were theming?
I have no idea.
I did I did a bunch of them. I don't remember some of the early ones, but I remember the Metroid one I did, and Zelda, and then more recently 2019 was Star Fox, and then 2020 was Donkey Kong.
Okay, yeah, I forgot. I don't know.
That's like the only way I keep up with them.
The first time I went, I think I was much worse, and it was all right. Like I wasn't that much better than everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went like two years later, and like just destroy everyone, and
right.
It's like, oh man,
right.
Two cabs. Like I just wish they had like the noob cab over here, and like the semi-noob cab over here, and like if you win on the noob cab, you go to the semi-noob cab.
Right.
If you lose on the noob cab, you go back to the noob cab. So at least like people aren't just like screaming snail.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's exponentially worse. I feel like at MagFest because like everyone there is there to party. Nobody's there to like do. Even you go to the panels, it's like people are just hanging out. Like the panels are like, here, watch these funny Pokemon commercials and we'll talk about them. Like they're not, no one's trying to be super highbrow and like figure things out at MagFest. So it does get kind of tough sometimes, especially now. Like that's funny you bring that up because I think about that. Like when I didn't know what I know about the game now, it's like it's almost like you have more fun with it because you're on that same playing field with everybody. Yeah,
I think it's a big problem with Killer Queen in that like it's amazing if everyone is terrible, and it's amazing if everyone is great. And if you mix people who are great with people who are terrible, it's not that good.
Right. Right. Even if you like try to like balance it out, where it's like, okay, you guys will have 2 good people and then 2 new people. Like, nope. Like it's like you still have to just when you find yourself having to pull back. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
Like I bet even when you're playing drone, you have like Queen. I know, like I'll leave a gate open. I won't try to kill you. I'll just like
Like is the best you can do. Like if you don't have any support, you can like bump some guy in the tunnel 10 times, and like for them to be like mildly frustrating, but you're not killing them. Right? So you can't do that much damage.
Good Lord, man. So you've been married. You've been married 8 years. Your wife. You play Killer Queen. You're at Google. You got to play, quite a bit. Do you guys have kids yet or no? No kids.
I actually, I got a vasectomy. I'm gonna be a kid forever.
No kids. Hey man, I don't blame you. I shoot. Send me your doctor. I might take a look. We call it, what is it? It's DINK. It's DINK. Dual income, no kids.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
That's the status right there. I'm deciding whether I want to be in cool Uncle Town forever or not. It's a good place to be. It's a really nice place. You go over, you see the niece, the nephew. When they start to get on your nerves, you pass them back off. You go away, and they still like you. Like they never not like you. My niece is playing Animal Crossing now, and she's always texting me. She's on her phone now. They have phones. Who gave them phones, Rob? They text me now and they say, "Hey, let's play Animal Crossing." And I'm like, I'm at work. It's like 6. And I'm like, okay, I'll be home in an hour. I'm not. Like, You know, something happened at work. You know how it is. It's like, oh, and then you feel bad. It's like, okay, we'll play on the weekend. And they're like, okay.
So how your niece must be like at least 8 or something? How old?
No, she's, oh boy, putting me on the spot now. On my own show, she's 12, I want to say.
Oh, 12. Okay.
Yeah.
At least, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's, you know, she's competent. She knows what she's doing. She's too old, 12 going on 21. But we'll play Animal Crossing. It's nice because she'll send me like sometimes she'll write me notes or something. I told her I needed gold pieces because I'm trying to build something. I need gold. So every once in a while I'll open the inbox. She's like, Uncle, here's some gold. And I'm like, oh, bless you, child. So I don't actually have to get it anymore. She'll just send it to me. So it works out. Being uncle's cool. I would say, you know, but well, coming back, you know, the question is, my wife does not play Killer Queen. She has played it, but she's not a KQA player. What about yours? Does she play it all, or she's just like, it's your thing?
Yeah, played 2. I think she's played like 2 times in her life, and she understands how I'm so obsessed with it, or why I'm so obsessed with it, and she tolerates it, which is great. But she's not a KQA player.
Isn't that's a marriage word, ladies and gentlemen? Tolerate. You learn this word when you get married. Tolerate. It's a good word. It's a really good word. So she tolerates your playing, and then you travel for the game quite a bit, yeah, or not as much now.
Yeah. I mean, I would travel a lot still if you know tournaments were happening.
Do you guys ever get into the situation where it's like, I want to travel to play the game, but like I also want to hang out? Because like you go to cities, you know, you go to cool cities, you go to Chicago, you go to LA or Portland or whatever, and it's like, do you ever like make a trip out of it, or are you just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna go and then I'm gonna come back?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually like South Florida is great for my wife and I, because like, you know, New York in January or February, New York sucks.
Oh yeah, too cold, man.
January, February in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, it's pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, if Queen's Gone Wild runs, like I can get basically like a free Killer Queen tournament, where you know she gets some good weather, I get to play Killer Queen, and it doesn't really count against me for like abandoning her for the weekend. You know, she's on vacation.
I love these calculated moves.
Columbus in the winter, that shit does not count at all. It's no one wants to go to Columbus in the winter.
Nope. Sorry, Winter Harvest. You guys can have Amara, but Rob's married. You know, hey, it's such an interesting dynamic. You're the first married person I think I've talked to. I think. Let me go back through. No, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But it's interesting, like the different dynamics. I think sometimes I'm like, I want to take my wife, because like when I travel too, I'm a bit weird. Like I like to, like if I'm on a team, for example, if I'm with arguably like a bunch of people I know, then that's one thing, right? Like we'll get a team house and like, you know, that's the thing. But if I'm traveling, like we went to Phoenix with Pierre. I played on his team there. I went to Chattanooga by myself. I think that was the first time I like traveled out by myself. And then where else have I been? I think just those two, honestly. LA. And then Jacksonville, we played with a team too, like my team from South Florida. But like generally when I travel, I'm a lone wolf kind of guy. Like I like to get the, you know, modest hotel room, you know, and just kind of go on that adventure and, you know, pretend to be like a bachelor for a while, like in the city, you know, and just like when I was in Chattanooga, I don't know where I was staying in like a Holiday Inn or something. And it's on King Street, so it's close to, you know, where they're at. But I would walk and, you know, just kind of walk around the city and, oh, there's Miller Park and, you know, here's this, okay, and like explore. That's like my thing I like to do. But you can't really do that when you're on a team and they want to go to dinner, they want to go see this thing, they want to go to the aquarium, you know. I'm always like, eh. Well, how are you when you travel? Like, are you like you know?
So, I mean, I'm an addict, right? So, basically, I want to play Killer Queen.
You're on that cab.
Yeah, I basically want to be on the cab. A lot of times when you travel with New Yorkers, right, you've played together for like 50 hours for the last 6 weeks or something. Right? You don't need to play hour 51 and 52. That's not actually going to really improve your team that much, so it's not that much of an imperative. But on mixed teams, I definitely like to get more like time on the cab. Yeah, I don't know that I don't treat it that much as vacation for most of the places I go. Like Portland was cool. Certainly BB3. They had like I'm super into beer. There's like super into sour beer in particular.
Cool.
There's like
Sours,
a sour beer brewery there that I organized like don't know, maybe 30 people showed up because I like made it happen. I publicized it or whatever. But yeah, I mostly when I travel for KQ, I want to basically play KQ. Like State Fair, for example, fucking loved that there's like the State Fair, right? Because that means like 70% of the people leave. And you can right? That's fucking great. Chicago's great because there's Google Chicago.
Right.
I could get 10 or 15 people. You know, not the Chicago people don't want to go, but like the out of towners, like I can just grab them.
Right,
like,
right.
Go to fucking private cab, and just grind. Like,
yeah.
Actually,
yo, that's hilarious. I remember we were at BB4. You found the shadow cab, way in the back.
Shadow cab.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Way
it was empty. And I probably got 10 motherfuckers to go. hey, let's go play.
Yeah. I remember you came up to us, you're like, yo, let's go play. And then, because we had seen Shadow Cab, but it was so far away, it's like out of your mind. So when you came and you told us that, like, I remember what day it was, one of the days before the tournament started, and we were going and playing. And so we just stayed back there and played on Shadow Cab for like, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half or something, 2 hours maybe. God, that was so much fun. No, that's good. That makes sense though. I mean, you get to play against other people, you get to try new things. And like me, like I would probably say between you and I, you probably enjoy playing the game more than I do. Or at least maybe your like endurance for playing is maybe higher than mine, I would say. But like
it's probably I think Woody is the only player in the world I think that like actually plays the game more than I do.
Wow.
You know, in normal situations. Yeah,
I've heard some stories about Woody playing and like practicing and stuff. You've been in the scene long enough to have known Woody like when he started, right?
Yeah, no. Here's a legit quote from Andrew Wilkening. I don't know, this is maybe KQ23. This is 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe probably closer to 3 years ago. You know, Woody invites me on the cab. I go play with Woody, and afterward, you know, I get off the cab and looks like, you don't play with Woody. He's bad. True story. Later, you know, they became like very good friends, I think, and you know, they won that Chicago tournament. The most recent, you know, X5 whatever together. But yeah. Woody's new enough that I was around when he was still bad.
Right. It's interesting to me whenever you see people who, because we talk about this in South Florida. It's like you find certain people put in the time, certain people don't, and that's fine. Like there's no awards for how much time you put in, but the people that put in the time generally get dividends on the time they put in, and they improve. So like, I would say in New York, you know, you've been in that scene since the beginning. Who would you say like within that scene, in your mind, are like one of the most improved? Like you were giving out that bullshit superlative, you know, at the school. It's like, yay, you're most improved. That means you used to suck.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, in by New York standards, I'm actually relatively like young. Like there was a New York scene before Google had a cab.
Man, New York, you guys are like the elves. If this was a fantasy, you know, so you guys would be the elves for sure.
Chicago really had the competitive scene around for the longest. But yeah, I don't know who maybe gotten a lot better. I mean, I think Austin like went from, you know, an alright player to like really fucking good. I don't know about players younger than me. I think Deanna is actually a fantastic vanilla warrior. I can show you clips of her wrecking Shipwash, who's a fantastic queen. You know, in BB4.
Yep. Oh yeah, BB4.
She got super into it. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think a lot of us kind of grew up together. Sort of, you know, leveled up. A lot of the Googlers, especially, leveled up together.
Did you see anybody else that was like kind of like a maybe a thing like you, where they start in one place, but then they transition to queen, and they've been able to like hold that mantle? Like I wonder at what point. Like I wonder how Sam started, or like some of those guys.
Yeah, I mean Sam was like 2017. There was like an all Google team called like Hive Mind or something. And I think Sam was like gonna queen it, and then Wilkening like took the queen away from him, sort of, you know, like a month before the tournament or whatever, because Wilk was just better.
Right.
And then later, probably a year and a half after that, Sam won a national championship. Right.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like
It's
a
interesting.
lot of
The progression that everybody has got. Well, whenever you've been playing this game, as long as you've been playing it and long as other people have been playing it, there are always like moments. There's people that stick out, but there's also moments that stick out. If for me, all time, I mean, obviously Queen's Gone Wild is a very interesting tournament for me personally. It's got different types of stories that are kind of told, throughout the whole thing. Myself, both times, since we've done it 2 times now, and you've been to both.
yeah.
You got perfect attendance. We've managed to get third both times, which is interesting in that we're on the podium. You know what I mean? For a new scene, and you have people coming in nationally. It's like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool.
Okay, but that first time you had Wilkening and BK.
The first time I did have Wilkening and BK.
Wilkening, I think that might have been like sort of around the era of like peak Wilkening, where I think Wilkening is like literally the best player in the world at the time.
Wow. Well, I'm a lucky motherfucker because I got to play with him twice. I played with him in Chattanooga. I think we got second, maybe. Or no, we got third. We got third in Chattanooga when we went. They had like a small.
Yeah, you had a pretty big upset over, in my opinion, what I thought was an upset over like the Columbus team in Chattanooga.
Oh yeah. Yeah, at Queens Gone Wild 2. Yeah, the Chattanooga game.
No, I was talking about in Nuga. You played with Wilkening there, right?
Yeah, I played with Wilkening in there.
Am I confused?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the Columbus team in Chattanooga. I get what you're saying. Yeah. I had no idea who we were doing with that. All I remember from that is he let me queen one time. And I got 1 kill on Kyle, and I was like, yay. Wilk's a cool dude. But in terms of like moments for you, what would you say is like in your top 3 front of mind memories for Killer Queen over the span of your career, where it's just like, yo, this was one of my crowning, moments?
Yeah. Okay. So definitely like BB3. We had a huge upset over the Cody's team. Like Cody's team, it was in my mind.
Wow, Cody.
They were the favorites.
Yeah.
And the night before, or like legit, I just like slept poorly, like thinking about like how can I beat Cody. Thinking about it. I was like, in the end, I was like, okay, it's fine. We're not gonna beat Cody.
All right.
And
Rob resolves
Cody.
himself.
Yeah, we beat him the first time we played him. We went, I think 3-1. And arguably, if you look at the one set we lost, the one game we lost in that first set, it was because of the fucking like super hover glitch. I forgot what we called it, and it got patched later.
Yeah. What, the
but
charge
yeah,
up thing? The charge up?
Yeah. They won. The one game they beat us was on a charge up where our snail is in the net. So honestly, if you look at it kind of fairly, maybe we maybe 4-0'd Cody.
Right.
They beat us later, on the stage. But yeah, certainly, Cody was like amazing. I think the first time we went to, I went with one of these like New York super teams to I think AQ20, with like Domish, Brian Wong, Sarah Greenwood, Wyatt Young, some real solid players.
Jesus, yeah, that's a
we won
scary
that.
sounding team.
Yeah. That was super fun. It's also, I don't know, like, New York, Chicago had a bit of a rivalry, and I think at the time New York's, a bit of a favorite. And the whole crowd's rooting against you.
Right.
And like it's super satisfying.
I was gonna ask, how do you guys put up with it? And
then you win, and it's quiet, and then eventually, like the claps build up, like this
the progression of the New York win. Everyone hates it, but then they all learn to accept it.
Yeah, and then I guess maybe another great memory is actually Bumble Bash 2.
Oh, BB2.
So this is like, it's still hard to hold the ceiling. I'm like, this is what I'm purely a drone.
Oh, because they didn't change the taps, yeah.
Yeah. So we're playing. I'm playing with Sam and Austin against Brian Kang and Brian Wong, and it's like moderately late in the tournament, and I'm running Snail, and like in my mind here, I'm like, this is like the peak of aggressive Rob like Snail, and the physics are different. Like it is just honestly more forgiving for drones. Like the hitboxes are different. You are stronger on drone than now, just because of the physics. And like, I would, no one would encourage people to do this, but twice on this night map. Legit, like I'm uncontested on the snow. See Sam and BK bumping at the middle gate on night. I fucking run off the snail, attack BK, get him twice in one game. It's like literally Jones just don't carry games. You can play well and you contribute, right? You just don't carry. But that game I carried.
What?
It's lost. The footage is lost.
No, the footage is lost? What happened to it?
Yeah. I mean, like Bumble Bear, they don't always have their shit together.
It's BB2.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
But,
Well, I guess with patches, maybe the footage is irrelevant, but it would have been very cool to see the hype.
Yeah. It was great.
Are there for drone, it's always super fascinating to me, like the types of things you can pull off, because when you're introduced to the game, like for better or for worse, you just kind of inherently develop the mindset that like, oh, drone kind of sucks. Like drone's the thing I do because I'm new and I don't know how to do anything else. Or
sure.
drone's the weak thing to do because I can't kill anybody. I want to kill things, or I'm on the snail. I keep getting killed. They're killing me, guys. Like you just develop this mentality that it's the weak position. But when you see people like you doing it,
there's a lot of truth there,
right? When you see people like you doing it, and Richard for KQSFL has been figuring some stuff out and kind of watching some tapes and meshing things and trying to figure some stuff out. Like for example, we figured out, and you might have known this, but on night map, underneath the center ledge, underneath the gate, is not safe for any warrior or queen. It's like you full jump and you're bumped out easily.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
That's crazy. You can basically pencil a drone because they have to turn, or they have to drop, or what are you gonna do? So if the timing's perfect. So it's interesting to see you taking these stances of like, Rob's known for being an aggressive drone. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you were you just messing around a bunch and just got bored, or like, how did you get to the point where you're developing the tech to be able to be aggressive as a drone?
Right. Yeah. We used to have, there was this bar in like Williamsburg, Brooklyn that had KQ. And there'd often be like just kind of drunk, shitty games there. But I would go a lot, and that's where I think I honed a lot of my skill. Just playing these like casual games, just fucking around, and just getting the tech down, right? Those sort of low stakes, kind of no stakes games where you can just stick around. I think I sort of was like, I can really fuck people up here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
You just. We'd have like these 5v5 Fridays, like most Fridays, there'd be this tournament, this sort of 6-team tournament or whatever, and there'd always be footage. So I'd go, 8 a.m. to like midnight, playing this tournament. I'd get back to my apartment at 1. I'd like immediately watch the video. Every game I played. It's like, see like what went right, what went wrong.
Yeah, get it while it's fresh.
Yeah. I think that contributed a lot to my growth, right? Like, watching your own footage and seeing what's working, what's not, and what you need to tweak.
Man, we've talked about this, or at least it's come up a couple times on Lazy J, and just the concept of like being a student of the game, right? I talked about this, Kyle, Amar hinted on it. You got to watch the tapes, like.
Absolutely.
You can't, you can't see what you did wrong, and you can't see what you did well, and then you can't like internalize that well enough to remember it for next time. Like, I wish, that's what I love. This is what I feel like, because like I said, we started off, I was kind of telling you, like, it's interesting doing Lazy J with people because we only know each other from the standpoint of the interactions we've had around the game, either from traveling or people visiting, or like otherwise meeting up, seeing it at MagFest or whatever. But like, I do feel like, and I talked about this with Amar, there are certain folks that like their aura or mindset or just the way they approach things mentally like leaks out of their essence, and you pick up on that, and you can see, oh no, this guy thinks about the game in like the next level way, and I can remember seeing you at BB4 and then also other places too. I think I saw you at Hive Hustle, like around, obviously at Queen's Gone Wild, but at BB4, I think that was the first time I was like, oh no, Rob's an addict. Like, Rob goes in on this game real hard. Like, no, this dude knows some shit. Because people always tell you, right? But then you see it and you're like, oh, okay. But
Yeah, I've definitely got a very addictive personality.
It's interesting to me. Is the game like what part of the game? What you've been playing a long time? What part of the game
Yeah.
is like? Why are you addicted? Like, what is it that's fun? You know?
I mean, I know it just feels good when you're like, you hit these coordinated plays or whatever. You make these plays. It's just like hit that J into the pincer, and it's just so satisfying, right?
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Huh. So like maybe the opportunity to kind of capitalize on some of the teamwork plays.
Yeah. The teamwork, and even like just the game feels good. Like, I can be happy, especially like in practice. We can like losing a good game still feels great. Like if people play well, you play at a high level, and you just got outplayed. Like, I don't know. For me, that's just like satisfying and just like a very like enjoyable experience, right? So it's like even when it's kind of not going good, if it's still good, that's amazing.
That's true. Right? I don't think there's a lot of games that share that. I'm thinking about Smash Bros again, and like anytime you lose, it sucks. So like it's never good. It's almost literally never good. It's very rare that you lose and you're okay with it. Like it's usually no, that was bullshit. No, that shouldn't have happened that way. That move is glitched. I threw mine out first. It's always some issue. But at Killer Queen, yeah, I think there are some times where it's like
it definitely has bugs, but like it actually feels pretty good. Even 4 years ago when the game was more buggy than it is now, right? And it somehow losing like a well played game, I don't know, for me feels right.
You were talking about how like before drones were, because the hitbox they were maybe a little bit stronger. Are there certain aspects of things? So they patch the game, then people complain, then they patch it again, then people complain, then they patch it again. And then tweaks have to get made, sure, but they 2 pixels, it's 1 pixel now, and so are there any like particular things? Maybe it's a hack where it's like, I wish this stayed in the game and it's not here anymore.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you can give me like 30 seconds. I'll find you a crazy video.
Oh, dope.
But you used to be able to have much better control of berries when you were kicking them in older builds of the game. So it would actually matter like the direction at which you were like traveling. So if you had like
for kick-ins.
If you jump for kick-ins, yeah. So I know there's a video 3 years ago of me like filling every hole in Dusk just from this. I have this little drill. You set the opposing queen above your safe gate so you could jump into their sword to create a loose berry, and you could kick a berry into every hole, and that's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, you can't do it anymore.
You can't do it anymore. No, if the berry's like on the floor, like it's only gonna take one given trajectory. Like no matter if you're jumping or not, your position or your like your direction doesn't influence at all.
That's wild. I'd never even thought about that. Like I knew kick-ins are obviously a thing. You've done some, everyone's done some, but like that level of being able to control, never ever have even thought about that being a possibility. That's wild.
Yeah.
We were talking with Shipwash. He was telling me, they used to have all this tech. They used to have the I forget what he called it. It was after somebody in their scene, like the Billy gun, I think is what he called it. But it's like different tap mechanics on the ceiling and like being able to kind of spam the tap rate and really juice it up. And I guess that's a charge up to a degree, but different tech and things like that. I don't think there's anything I particularly miss. And like all of the patches, the only thing that does feel weird to me is when you're queening, there's something weird about the dive hitbox. The dive hitbox has always been funky. There's always been kind of like something's weird about this.
You have like the screenshots where like the players aren't touching the queen
all.
They're both in dive and that other fucking head, and you're like, of course you deserved that.
Right. The one that gets me is like if you dive and you're facing someone, you're probably gonna die. But if you dive and you're not facing them, they're probably gonna die. Like the kill box behind the dive is like there's something about it that it's more violent, like it's more volatile. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But we've been playing some of the betas and like, oh man, I remember that being like quite a thing, But aside from that, I don't think there's anything in particular I could think of like from patches that are like, weird. I do remember it being slightly kind of cool to me that, skill gaps and everything, like you want to make the game more accessible, and I definitely get that. But you were mentioning back when the tap rate was like BB2. It's like you got to tap it so damn fast, the whole ceiling. I remember having some really cool, fun battles against some guys in South Florida where it's just like, all right, whichever one of you motherfuckers is going to get lactic acid buildup fast enough. Like, that was the battle. And it got to be hype because you knew at some point someone's going to die. Like, you have to back off or someone is going to die. You can't hold it, you know? So it got to be kind of fun to watch. But, you know, you do these things kind of crop up. Getting over and kind of switching and talking about some of the teams and things that you've been building and the things you've done. What is it that you would say, you know, from your mindset, looking into it, what's fun for you in the game? We were talking about this in some of the other episodes. If you had a team you could build, maybe we'll pick out some folks from New York, but like ideally, what types of folks are you looking for when you're considering team builds, you know?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I think there's honestly like a kind of a trade-off between like how good players are and like how obnoxious they are, right? Because like honestly, I think a lot of like the best players are kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I always try to pick that kind of sweet zone of, you know, they're very good and they're like tolerable to play with.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like in New York, I would say, for example, like Wyatt Young, right? This dude is very fucking good at the game, and he's also a sweetheart. Right. Like he is so nice. He'll call people out on bullshit. Right. When other people are being obnoxious, like the fire extinguisher. Right. He puts that shit down. Right. Like that in my mind is like, you know, the best. That's the best you can do. You're like very good, and you know, easy to deal with. That's what I look for.
Right.
When I'm building, like my best teams, you know, have that kind of combination. Then you play really well, and they're also fun to play on.
Right. They're also fun to play.
Ultimately, this game, if you're not having fun, like there's no reason to be doing this, right?
It always comes back to that. Yeah. We were talking about that quite a bit. Like I feel like Amar's whole episode was about kind of, you know, how that works and finding that balance between that and trying to keep it competitive but also fun. Which is hard to do because competitive, it gets serious, it gets kind of tense, it gets kind of heavy, and like it requires stuff from people. But yeah, if you got the right mix, you know, and you can kind of put that together with the right people, then it works out. It's fine. So within that, you've been doing, you know, Killer Queen Black, you've been doing some other stuff. How have you been kind of navigating the COVID situation of not being able to hang out with people and not being able to play and like how are you handling all that?
It's not easy. Yeah. I mean, I guess Killer Queen Black is nice because you can kind of play it on the internet. I don't know. I don't have any great answers for how to deal with COVID. Luckily, so I live in this apartment building. I live in this like small, you know, 600 square foot apartment. When I play Killer Queen Black, I get loud and obnoxious, and my wife doesn't like it. So for a while I couldn't play that much.
All right.
Especially late at night. But my apartment building has like this kind of shared like lounge area that was closed for like the first 2 or 3 months of COVID. And that's now open. So now I can like binge play late at night. And I've been doing that for a bit.
Oh, okay.
And it's stepped up my my KQB game a bit. So that's been fun.
All right, adaptability.
I don't have any magic answers for how to make COVID not suck.
Yeah, no, COVID sucks. COVID sucks big time. I think I've enjoyed doing this show. I've been doing it on and off. It's casual. It gives me an opportunity to talk to people I otherwise, you know, wouldn't get a chance to talk to. We're not traveling anymore, you know?
Yeah,
so like
sad. It is sad.
We can't you know, we can't interact like we used to anymore. There were definitely some tournaments I was looking forward to going to this year too. I think Chicago probably would have already happened or almost. They usually do July, right?
Yeah, no, Chicago happened basically. There was this online event that was kind of cool. You know, it's probably as good a substitute as they could have done. But yeah, Chicago's always like kind of late June.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Late June.
The big Chicago tournament's late June. Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. We wanted to come and do Chicago. Obviously, BB5. I wonder if they're gonna tell us where it would have been.
I don't know. I heard it was going to be either Dallas or Chicago, and I was more leaning towards Dallas.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Dallas too. Just it's central, you know, and Dallas, that's not a super expensive ticket for most people, I think.
Yeah, and Dallas has just so many cabs already there. It's like it's obscene. And maybe they have like 8 cabs there or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that would have been fun. So I mean, we'll see. But okay, so outside of Killer Queen, as we kind of get to the tail end of things here, what types of hobbies? Because I know you've been doing, I think, some outdoorsy type stuff. I saw. I don't know if it was like hiking or something.
My wife and I went to like Cape May, New Jersey. I don't know outdoorsy stuff.
Hmm.
Really? I mean, we're in New York City. We recently got a car in New York, which helps a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess my other big hobby outside of Killer Queen is brewing beer, and I brew a ton of like
You did
especially
mention
sour
you're
beer.
a good fan of the sour beer. What would you recommend? Like, if you're getting into sour beer, like, what's your top?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say like sometimes it's a little bit local, but a nice like very approachable sour beer that might be kind of widely available is called like Monk's Flemish Ale, and I think in Miami there's a brewery called J. Wakefield, and they do a lot of like fruited sour beers.
Yeah, I know Jay Wakefield.
Yeah, probably if you're in South Florida, some J. Wakefield sour beer with some fruit in it, and those will probably be pretty fucking good.
I tried some sours. I think pretty much everywhere I go, I ask for a sour. We were in Jacksonville, I asked for one. BB4, I asked for one. Well, they had that weird bar at BB4, like at the Choo Choo, that was like serving stuff that like they had made. It was still pretty good, but it was like never heard of this stuff. some regular moonshine they were making. But no, sour is good. Sour is like I don't know, it's got interesting flavor notes to it, you know? Like I don't like beer in like the traditional sense, you know, like even on crafts.
I mean, I thought you were drinking like a white wine. Like a white wine and sour beer can be a little close. Like white wine's pretty acidic and it's fruity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sour beer, especially if you add some fruit to it, can be,
maybe that's
pretty
it.
acidic.
Me and my broken dreams, which I've broken all of my dreams apparently. I don't dream anymore. It's solid. It's good. But yeah, I want to get into some of that. It's weird because like, I've picked up some of these notes from having to do the lounge and manage that. It's coffee and bar, so like I gotta know all these things so I can disseminate them and order. And like I've never been a huge drinker. Like I didn't really even start drinking until I was out of college, ideally enough. It definitely increased when I moved to Florida. I can tell you that. Florida does things to you. It's the sun. But it's cool to kind of learn and get out of those types of things. I wonder if it was me and like I could completely revamp and change my life and like just pick, okay, I'm gonna do this now in this place. My big dream, I would like. Have you seen on Netflix that show Midnight Diner?
Oh,
Dude, okay. So my goal in life, Midnight Diner on Netflix. They just released like some older episodes. They put something out that was like a teaser to see if people would watch it, I guess, and that had good reviews. So now they've released like 3 more seasons of it that are actually older than the thing they put up originally. It's a show that was in Japan, so they brought it over. But I would move to Japan. Love Japan. Never been, want to go. Awesome place. Big Nintendo fan growing up. And I would just open some kind of a lounge, like some kind of cafe. Late night, do coffee, do like a very small menu, or like some omakase or something, and just keep it super chill and cool, not trying to be anything. Like that would be my ideal thing.
Yeah. Have you tried to learn any Japanese or?
Oh yeah. We downloaded. They got all kinds of programs and stuff. We had one on Mac for a while. I can't remember what it was called, but we went through. We learned like all the written language for a bit. We got through all the hiragana. We were gonna work on the katakana. Then I was like, fuck this. So we stopped there. We had to come back, but we've been learning and like watching more shows. We've been watching like Terrace House and like. Because it's different. It's kind of weird. Like when you learn Spanish, I feel like in America, it's obviously very different than how they learn in all of the individual, countries that speak their style of Spanish. And like the words change and everything's different. So Japanese is kind of the same in that you'll learn it from the training videos and like those modules, and they'll speak it to you in a certain way, right? A lot of the teachers, it seems like, are women too. So they have like that higher pitched voice, and you'll start to adapt to whatever that is. Or like anime does the same type of thing. It's very exaggerated. So then when you're listening to just like conversational Japanese and you realize, oh no, it's like super mellow. Like it's actually very chill. Like no one ever actually sounds very excited about anything. It's like this monotone, almost all the time. So you start to learn, oh, you're supposed to speak that way. So you're not just, oh, hisashiburi desu. Like, watashi wa. You don't talk like that. You just, oh, hisashiburi desu, watashi wa, Soka. Okay. And it's a very like, you know, so we're trying to pick that up a bit, but I'd for sure want to learn. Joe's in the chat now. He's saying there's over 30 different variations of Spanish in Spain alone. So you've been to Portugal, which is not Spain, but close. And they speak Portuguese. But that's crazy. That's wild. Do you know Portuguese, or no? You just guys went there.
I don't, no. I mean, we just went to Portugal. I mean, I studied like 2 years of Spanish in high school or whatever. But
Right. I've seen The Lion King in Spanish too. That's a fun class. Everyone goes for the videos. No, that's dope, man. Very cool. Well, shoot. I want to kind of wrap it up a little bit here, but this has been a lot of fun. I know you got some stuff coming up, and we kind of bumped our timetable up a little bit. You guys watching? Let me see. Heather did say something a little bit funny. We were talking about you traveling and like what you like to do. She says Rob is always setting up games when he travels and offering to get.
Yeah, I try to bribe people. To get them on the cab as early as possible. Actually, like the day after the tournament, like the arcade opens, like first 10 people there, I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah.
But I wish it did.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. I mean, I hope we get out of this soon. I know it won't be soon. Soon is a relative term, I guess. But hopefully we can get back in contact, play some more games, get the community back going. I'm sure the New York community is fine. The Chicago community is fine. I think some of the younger communities may be in a little bit of trouble. But hopefully we come out of it and get to the next port. It's been super awesome talking with you. I feel like I learned a lot. But big mutual respect for kind of what you've been doing over there, and especially like I think the biggest thing, because your queening is great. I've played against it. I can say that. But like, definitely, I think the work you've been doing, maybe not intentionally, but just making objective fucking cool.
I guess. I don't know.
Like,
I just like the way.
Like you could always go and be like, you take somebody and they're like, objective sucks. I don't want to do this. You're like, no. You don't know Neuhaus. You got to learn Neuhaus style. And then it's like, now like the dopest thing to me is like if I'm like seeing my teammate Patrick like bumping somebody 5 times in the tunnel. Like that's the most exciting, you know what I mean? Like thing. It's like, so definitely, man. Keep up the good work. Hopefully we'll get out of this and get some more taps on. Is there anything you got going on? Amar was talking about some, obviously crab volleyball, but some Mario Kart stuff that Aaron Goldberg was doing. Anything you got on your radar for maybe card games or other stuff, KQB?
Nothing like internet, really. Like, if you're in New York, I would give you some beer, but that's the only other thing I got going on in LA.
Solid, man. Good stuff. Well, good chatting with you. Stay safe out there. Tell the wife we said what's up, and one of these days we'll hang out again. It'll be good. You guys have been tuned in to the Lazy J. That's Rob Neuhaus. I'm arguably the best. We out of here.
See ya.